Happy Thursday, everybody. We won. We won. That is what I should tell you right at the top here. Piers Morgan, you owe me something like 150,000 US dollars. I'd like to shout out especially all my haters here right at the top who didn't believe me when I was all like, Brigitte Macron is a man. And instead, they decided to go with the mainstream media, the narrative that was just, Candace is unhinged. Brigitte Macron won for defamation. Well, that's no longer a thing. Because guess what? The journalist that she went after, two of them, they beat Brigitte in court. They have been acquitted in the higher court ruling. I'll tell you all about that. It's just been a bad day, bad week, bad month, bad year for the Macrons, actually. So it's amazing. Plus, I got to tell you a crazy story about another person who was investigating the Macrons and has mysteriously ended up dead. And lastly, Prince Andrew, who has been in hiding since the fallout of the Epstein trial, is now resurfacing because the Epstein files have been mysteriously closed. And his people are saying that he's now ready to venture back into the public life. So we win some, we lose some. Welcome back to Candace. Well, I will say this, guys. We definitely needed this win, especially after an entire week being gaslit about Jeffrey Epstein. We needed at least one pervert to not get away with it. And it's happening. It is happening right now in France. I'm very excited about it, and I'm going to tell you what is going on. First, we should put this on rewind, though, because I have to say it was a lot. 2024 was a lot for me. Personally, I was just being completely pummeled by the mainstream media. I was the first person in, I guess, Western media, American media, to say, hey, or at least the English-speaking world, to say, hey, Macron, I think, is definitely married to a dude. And then the entire mainstream media rose up, as they often do, not to do their job, not to investigate these claims any further, but to do their real job, which is to defend the government, defend the state, and to just say that any person who's saying this is unhinged and crazy. And there's just no way that that's true. There's no way that this 40-year-old, quote unquote, woman who happens to look a lot like a dude in a dress, is given Mrs. Doubtfire over here, and who also happens to have fallen in love with a 14-year-old. She was 40. Oh, there's no way she could be lying about anything, or might just be perverted altogether. Anyways, fresh off of being fired for the Daily Wire, it was Piers Morgan who interviewed me first, and he had me on his show. And look, I like Piers, but I'm going to say he was trying to step on my head while I was already drowning. He just came to deliver that final blow, asking me all sorts of questions, implying that I was anti-Semitic because I was like saying what was happening in Gaza was wrong. I'll let you know he has since come over to my side. And he's about to come over on my side when it comes to Brigitte as well, because then he brings it up at the end. There was like an hour of us just clashing. I was exhausted. And at the end, he then tries to paint me as a crazy person and asks me about Brigitte. And don't worry, you guys, as tired as I was, I stood 10 toes down on this one. So let's put that on rewind. Take a listen. This is from June 11th of last year.
But it's this question about the French First Lady, Brigitte Macron, who you keep saying is a man. You've produced zero evidence that she is a man. It's been deeply offensive to her husband, President Macron, to all of her family. You keep promoting it to millions of people that follow you. And I simply ask why. She's not a man, she's a woman.
I'm happy to answer the question. I think Brigitte Macron is a trans woman. And I think the fact that when Brigitte Macron... Okay.
But where's your evidence that she is?
Well, Piers, the thing is I'm not allowed to speak after you ask me a question, so I don't really know what the purpose of this is anymore. You just seem to kind of be saying your own thoughts. So I'm just going to be silent here and allow you to monologue.
Where is your evidence that Brigitte Macron is transgender?
Well, I did an entire series talking about where this came from. And first and foremost, you're pretending that I'm the one that promulgated this. In fact, it was 3 journalists in France that worked on the story for 3 years. Right. And they teamed up with genealogists. And they came across, and it was absolutely fascinating. I read the entire report, and everybody watching this, rather than listen to Piers Morgan giving you a bunch of adjectives, ridiculous, it's awful, I can't believe that she's saying this. Why don't you go pursue a primary source? Why don't you go find the articles that were written by the French journalists? Because this did not come from me. This came from French journalists.
And while they were working, Brigitte Macron is suing.
Let me finish the statement, Piers. Okay. While they were working on this piece, the Macrons sent their secret service to interrupt this. This is not a normal thing that you do when somebody's about to publish a lie. You would just say it's ridiculous, publish it, and we'll dispute it. They sent the secret service to intimidate these journalists. They took their phones. They held them. They wanted to know everyone who was working on the piece. And what they uncovered was absolutely fascinating. What they uncovered was the fact that Brigitte Macron, who alleges that the person that they are saying is her is actually her brother, who's never been seen and who they never produced, that Brigitte Macron lived as a man for 30 years and then transitioned at the age of 30. So he's trying to tell you this is crazy, this is wacky. Why don't you just go pursue a primary source?
Well,
I'm not the primary source. It would be very easy to dispute this. All Brigitte Macron would have to do is produce a single photo of her in the first 30 years of her life, or to go on a little walk with her brother, who she alleges that she is not. She refuses to do either. She's suing people, and the one photo that they keep producing is a photo of her daughter to phone that has been photoshopped. Let me get a word in, please.
Brigitte Macron, as you know, has a libel trial against Natasha Ray, who made the claims that the French First Lady was born a man called Jean-Michel Trogneux. It's due to take place imminently, and we will get to the bottom of this. And I'll bet you, why don't we have like £100,000 bet that it establishes beyond any doubt to a charity of your choice and mine, $100,000, make it dollars, right now, that it is established beyond any doubt that she was born a woman. Do you accept that bet?
Make it rain, Piers. Make it rain, okay? Because look, first and foremost, 100,000 pounds. Can we look up what that means in U.S. dollars? Let's see what that. $136,000. I'll round it up. Let's round it up to $1 there. 136,000 U.S. dollars are mine, Piers. I'm not gonna let you get away with this. I want my money. It's gonna be like that Family Guy scene where Stewie's like beating up Brian. I want my money. Where's my money? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's how it started, and this is how it's going. Check out this headline. We are trending all over France. This is huge news. The women who claimed Brigitte Macron was born a man are cleared of defamation because that's how the truth works. It's amazing that they even initially got convicted because of corruption, of defaming the French First Lady. It was this false conviction that the media then touted out as a win, saying, see, she's not born a man. But that actually wasn't what was at root of the case, as many of you guys know that have been following the series. Anyways, what has happened today is that the judges that were sitting at the Paris Appeal Court on Thursday ruled that Amandine Roy, that is the 53-year-old clairvoyant, and Natasha Ray, and she has been absolutely fantastic. She's a 49-year-old journalist, blogger, and researcher that teamed up and first and foremost put Xavier Poussard onto this story when he was having trouble even finding basic facts about Brigitte. And she said, yeah, that's because Brigitte was born Jean-Michel Trogneux. And so now the court has ruled that they had every legal right to make those allegations. More specifically, Brigitte brought the case in regards to a 4-hour YouTube video broadcast where the two of these ladies were sitting down. And Brigitte is alleging that there were 18 instances of defamation. Well, the court has ruled that those 18 instances did not constitute defamation, or they were based in good faith. And like I explained throughout the series, they were never attacking, Brigitte was never attacking the claim that she was born a man. She was being super petty and trying to get them on a technicality of defamation for misspeaking. You know, they tried this with me. Oh, you said this photo was recolorized, but it wasn't actually recolorized. And then trying to get someone into the courtroom, and then the judge says, oh yeah, it wasn't recolorized. And you go, oh, look, we won. It was defamation to suggest that this photo was recolorized when it wasn't. That was the game that they were playing so that they could give the journalists something to tout out as a win. Now they've come back and said, you know what? That's not enough. Okay, that is actually not enough. These women did not defame you. And so their lawyers were cheering outside of court. I can't imagine what it feels like for Natasha Ray and Amandine Roy. Natasha Ray got sick with cancer throughout this. Brigitte did not care, has been attacking these women for being the first to expose what is so obviously true. And it's a major win. That's all we can really say. Both of these women had claimed that they were subjected throughout this time to intimidation by the authorities, by these ultra-protected members of the Paris establishment, these sick, perverted members of the Paris establishment that were trying to cover up a state secret. Why does it feel like this is happening everywhere in the world? why does it feel like some perverted individuals are actually running the entire globe? Anyways, lawyers for Brigitte have said that they are devastated by this ruling, that they plan to take this now to the highest court in the French judicial system. And let me tell you, they're going to lose, because Brigitte Macron is a man, was born a man, and so therefore she will die a man. Doesn't matter whether you put on lipstick on a pig, it will still die a pig. Brigitte and her team, like I was telling you, are just, they have been so vengeful and so disgusting. And at the end of the day, Natasha Ray was positively in the right in this scenario. And so congratulations to her, congratulations to their entire team, and congratulations to people that just have the courage to keep going. To keep going when the entire world is pressuring you and the journalists are out there like assassins and ninjas, trying to defame you, trying to caricature you as an unhinged, crazy, loony person simply because you are telling the truth about who these elites actually are. Yeah, major win for all of those heroes out there in the world. And it's time for Brigitte to stop harassing women in general. Men should not be harassing women, full stop. She harassed me when I was pregnant, sending people to my door. Just cut it out, okay? Now, it's pretty obvious that the journalists are already going to try to move the goalposts here. I couldn't believe this. I touted this win on X, and this journalist, American journalist, Yashar Ali, is just trying to gaslight us some more. All right, this is his tweet about the win. He writes, Candace, what evidence would satisfy you? Would you have to examine Brigitte Macron yourself? I feel like you would accept nothing less. No, actually, we would accept like a lot less. So I just want to be very clear, in case it hasn't been clear from the beginning. Maybe just some photos growing up with your brother, some photos of your first marriage, which lasted more than a decade of your life. You allegedly had 3 kids, some photos of you in the hospital, giving birth to those kids, raising those kids, growing up with those kids that you allege that you raised. We don't need to conduct a medical exam at this moment, just some photographic evidence that you existed for the first 30 years of your life. That would be great. Maybe wedding photos. I assume you took tons of wedding photos. Can we see who the maid of honor was? Just proof that it was you. I feel like we're not asking for a lot. How about school photos? Xavier Poussard won, by the way, in court because for whatever reason, the school that Brigitte went to does not want to release the photo of Brigitte at school. And so when Xavier went to the school and said, actually, I won in court, you have to release this, the school said, don't care, we're not releasing it. That would do. School photos, I think. So this is a really low bar we're setting to prove that you existed for 30 years. You could go for a walk with your brother now, answer some questions, refuses to do absolutely everything. So you're not going to gaslight us for asking for a bare minimum requirement here, okay? Prove you existed for 30 years. Anyways, we know that it's not completely over, ladies and gentlemen, because it's not going to be over until the man in the wig sings. So much, by the way, has happened since we premiered our Becoming Brigitte series, including some more timely deaths and or suicides, whatever we're going to call this next thing. You're not going to believe the story. Let me show you guys this man. His name is Olivier Marley, okay? He was a French member of parliament who was committed to exposing what he described as a French ring of corruption, a Parisian ring of corruption that had global implications. Specifically, how he got involved here is he began investigating a sale that went through back in 2014. It was General Electric, like, you know, started in America, General Electric, was able to acquire all of the energy assets from a French company that's called Alstom, okay? Alstom is just a French energy company, and they were able to acquire all of their assets in a $12 billion deal. Now, when this happened, there was uproar across Europe because the deal was so obviously not good for France. It was not good for the French people. It was not good for the French nation. We've spoken about this at length, but of course, with these aims to globalize the world, they want everybody to be dependent. They don't want any nation to be energy independent. They kind of want everything to come together, right? And they're going to control us. And we're going to like it. We're going to be slaves and we'll enjoy it. Well, anyways, there was uproar across Europe about how bad this deal was. Why would you do this? Why would you sell your nation's assets? Why would you essentially betray French national interests? And it really, this idea of global governance, people are calling this out. And what happens is Olivier begins investigating, like literally why did this deal happen? And he discovers that Emmanuel Macron is in the middle of it. Emmanuel Macron had everything to do with this corrupt sale. From 2012 up until 2014, Macron, who we know was mysteriously brought up like Jeffrey Epstein, Macron was brought up through Rothschild's bank, didn't even know what EBITDA stood for. And his colleague said he was obviously dumb, but for whatever reason, David Rothschild had his hand on this child and pulled him through the ranks so they could create this fake resume. So Jeffrey Epstein, you're a teacher, and now you're doing the biggest deals at financial banks. These people are frauds. They're actors. And so after he's done going through the Rothschild's bank, he then gets the position of the Deputy Secretary General of the Élysée Palace. He goes right into politics. And while he was in that role, he secretly commissions a report about the potential sale of Alstom. Like he's going in there like somebody on the outside, I'm not saying it's the Rothschilds, is like, hey, we need you to, make this happen. So then it's 2014 and Emmanuel Macron mysteriously gets promoted to the Minister of Finance. And guess what he does? He signs off on that sale of all of France's energy assets under Alstom to General Electric. This is the Matrix, my friends. They're all actors. They're all actors and they're all performers. There's a movie about that. I can't think of the name of it, where essentially like we don't realize it's just like one great play that's being put on and nothing in our lives is real. And that's how I feel about politics. Like these are just bad faith actors that are either blackmailed or have been brought up through the ranks to do these sorts of deals when they have power to make people think that they're voting these representatives into office. Well, he gets that done. And then it's 2017 and Emmanuel Macron is ready to run for president. And he's able to raise a ridiculous amount of money to do this. I'm talking a record-breaking amount of money to do this. And you're never going to guess who gave him this money. Oh, the individuals that were linked to the deal, the General Electric deal. Oh, well, if he did that for us when he was the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Economics, well, you could only imagine what he'll do for us when he's president of France. Anyways, the most vocal and consistent critic against what he described as this corruption pact was Olivier Marleix, a member of parliament. He would not let this story go. He is like me, not letting the story go of Brigitte Macron, because it matters that we have perverts that are in positions of power. It actually matters, especially because it seems to be they are a global family. And he made it his mission to expose exactly how this deal happened, which means that he was up against some very dangerous people. He even chaired a commission that was tasked with probing that transaction. He publicly condemned Macron. And then he decided he was going to publish a book. He was due to publish a book about the corruption of this deal this September. But now, you guys, rather conveniently, he's been found hanging in his home, a noose around his neck. Just 3 days ago, this guy was found hanging, Olivier Marleix. Authorities have not yet determined whether it was suicide or whether it was foul play. So we'll leave it at that. I will just say these sorts of suicides are timely. I would say if they do rule it to be a suicide, it's going to be timely because for those of you who have watched the Becoming Brigitte series, there just seems to be a lot of bad luck to people that happen to the individuals that are courageous enough to look into this couple. And don't worry, you guys, I'm all over it. I'm talking to Xavier. We're going to bring you as much as we can bring you and tie everything together for you. The Epstein picture, the American picture, the Israel picture. Yes, we are aware that doing this stuff is dangerous, but since it seems that all of the men that are in office, particularly here in America, don't have the courage to do it, what they're really doing is they're saying, we don't care what happens to your kids in the future. We are content with letting perverts rule the world. So we can't allow that to happen. There's a lot more. And I think what happened to this brave man probably answers the question that's been in the back of our minds this whole week. It adds to rather the speculation about why so many people in our government appear to be scared to stand up to these people. Because if you will harm a child, like I said this week, there is nobody that you won't harm. You will feel nothing as you murder, kill, destroy, steal, pretend that you had all of this success because you're clever, when in reality, you're just demonic. You're willing to do anything to maintain your status as a ruler of the world. Anyways, that's all I'm going to say about that note. I'm going to tell you about Prince Andrew because we have an update on that topic. But first, reminding you guys about Riverbend Ranch because I gave you that challenge. I said, find a better steak. Tag me in it. You will not. I'm serious. If you've not heard yet about Riverbend Ranch, it's time that you did. Their beef has more flavor and tenderness than any beef that I have ever tasted. I mean that. Take it to the bank. The Angus herd at Riverbend Ranch is not your average Angus cattle because 35 years ago, they decided to use ultrasound technology. The owner of Riverbend Ranch began scouring the nation to identify specific purebred Angus cows that genetically produce a much higher level of marbling and tenderness than normal Angus cattle do. After 30 years of careful selection and breeding, Riverbend Ranch developed beef that has notably superior flavor and tenderness. They take great pride in the humane treatment of their herd. The cattle spend their days in the lush mountain meadows of Idaho and Wyoming, and they are raised without the use of artificial growth hormones or antibiotics, and they age this premium beef for 21 days. It is real American beef. It's born in America, raised in America, processed right here in America, and that beef can be shipped directly from their ranch to your home. You have to try it, and you're going to love it. So head to riverbendranch.com. Right now, if you use promo code Candace at checkout, you'll even get $20 off your first order. Trust me, you're going to be very impressed. Visit riverbendranch.com, promo code Candace. And Paleovalley is also another company that you should check out because something that I was craving during my pregnancy was beef sticks, specifically the ones from my friends at Paleovalley. Paleovalley makes their meat sticks with 100% grass-fed beef sourced from small-scale regenerative American farms, so you can feel good about what you're eating and what you're supporting. They've stripped out all the junk, so there's no preservatives, gluten, soy, sugar, dairy, no GMOs, just the clean, nutrient-dense fuel, the way that food was actually meant to be. So whether you are road tripping, working late, running around with the kids, these sticks will deliver you high protein energy without the crash. It doesn't matter if you're keto, paleo, carnivore. This will work with your lifestyle, not against it. They come in multiple bold flavors: original, jalapeno, summer sausage, maple bacon, and teriyaki. So there's something for everyone. With over 55 million beef sticks sold, Paleovalley is trusted, proven, and they're backed with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Right now, you'll get 20% off your first order at paleovalley.com/Candace if you use code Candace at checkout. That's paleovalley.com/Candace, promo code Candace at checkout. All right. Now, what else is going on? I will say we should probably discuss Jeffrey Epstein.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah, we are. I'm sorry, Trumpy Bear, we are. I'm so sorry, but we have to. Now, you might recall that Virginia Giuffre was the victim who really came out. She has since passed away, but she came out and was naming names and was kind of the one that kind of broke the story in a really big way as one of the victims. And as a part of her story, you can see this photo that we're showing. She alleged that she was forced to have sex with the Duke of York, being Prince Andrew, in London, in New York, in the U.S. Virgin Islands when she was just 17 years old. And she named the homes that she was required to do that in. And she spoke about how Ghislaine Maxwell was central to that. She was very explicit in describing Andrew. She talked about how he was sweating and how he liked to dance. And so I guess attempting to do the right thing here, the BBC sat down with Prince Andrew, and they unpacked her allegations. They asked him, is this true? And in case you forgot, this is how Prince Andrew decided to respond to those allegations. Take a listen.
So you're absolutely sure that you're at home on the 10th of March?
Yeah.
She was very specific about that night. She described dancing with you and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly.
There's a slight problem with the sweating because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time, and that was yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat. And it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I didn't do it, so therefore.
It's just unbelievable. You just can't make that up. Did she say dance? Oh no, don't be ridiculous. Dance. I have a specific condition where actually I don't have any rhythm, and so when a Madonna song comes on, I am known to never dance. Michael Jackson? No. I have a condition that when I hear Michael Jackson, I actually can't. That's what he did. He did that, guys. That's what he did. He just said that it was a car crash interview. What an absurd thing. Also trying to like decorate yourself as a hero. And the reason I have this condition is because, let me remind you that I was shot at in the war. And so, no. Let's brush all that away. Yeah, not exactly the most believable excuse. Medical condition, which he now says has since been cured because he's like, oh, I'm probably sweating right now. And he kind of is. So he then says, yeah, but since now I can sweat. I couldn't sweat then. What year was it? I wasn't able to sweat that year. I did not sweat once in 2008. That is, you can take that to the bank. I can't prove that, obviously, because it's not 2008, but I didn't. And I just want you guys, my listeners at home, to know that. Well, lucky for Andrew, unlucky for us, the FBI ended its probe into Prince Andrew. And now he feels like he has a new lease on life. He's lifting his self-imposed travel ban. And this is a headline that was in the New York Post. Prince Andrew free to travel abroad as the FBI ends its probe into the royals' Jeffrey Epstein links. And essentially, he did not leave the UK because he was fearful that he was going to be arrested while this was open, while the client list was open. If you didn't do anything, why would you be fearful of arrest? I don't know. Like, I'm not fearful of arrest, anywhere probably but in France. And if I'm being honest, I'm more fearful of like murder more than arrest. But it seems if you didn't do anything, what are you so fearful of? And now he's kind of having his people go out and touting this as a win. That he's, you're gonna, by the way, the quote that the source gave to the Sun, like whoever this person is that's close to that's close to Prince Andrew, decided to tell the Sun like he's going to be out. And this is the quote. The person said, "He has been abroad just once since the scandal erupted. He has always been very nervous about going abroad and felt that he'd always be looking over his shoulder as he could be subject to civil action or at worst being arrested. Hopefully with this out of the way, it means he can at least leave the country. What's he supposed to do with the rest of his life? He hasn't been convicted of any crime, and he can't just sit around doing nothing at the Royal Lodge forever." End quote. Can you imagine being that rich? Right? It's just, like, what am I supposed to do with this parcel of land, with these royal subjects? What am I supposed to do? Lunch all day? I'm a taxpayer's dime in the Royal Lodge forever? Don't you feel bad for me? I can't get on a plane and go anywhere because I'm fearful that someone's going to serve me with a civil lawsuit. So I've just been prancing around all of this property, these rolling hills and meadows, all this land that we own here in the UK. Now he's just, let's all just feel bad, I guess, or something for Prince Andrew. I can't even respond to that amount of tone deafness because that is what it is, a tone deaf response to everything that is happening. How about trying just shut up for at least a week while this is going on, while people are angry that it seems that people are getting away with these sorts of crimes if they are of a certain ilk in the club that we are not in, people that are ruling over us. This is just a bad faith response to all of that. Well, now I can leave and go to my other properties where my other friends have, because Epstein's not here, but I have other rich friends that also own islands. That's what it sounds like he's saying. Anyways, no charges are going to be brought against Andrew. That is the reality, or anybody else. I guess it's case closed until me and Xavier team up and do a series. I guess the world is as upside down and we go after innocent people like Justin Baldoni. And I just want to give you guys this update because it's going to get kind of crazy, that lawsuit, if you guys are following it. You might have seen that headline that there was a Daily Mail reporter that got subpoenaed into all of the saga. Maybe you missed it, but essentially he got subpoenaed and he then signed a sworn affidavit saying that he mistakenly said to someone that Blake had been sexually assaulted. Anyways, this was touted out as a major win for Team Blake Lively, saying, oh, you see, I never defamed him. I never said sexual assault. And what's turned out is this reporter has now been fired from the Daily Mail. And we have a source that's telling us that he is now going after the Daily Mail because he believes that he was fired for the wrong reasons, because he actually wanted to be a whistleblower that could help out Justin Baldoni. Because way back in August, when Leslie Sloan was calling around reporters trying to see if there was this quote unquote smear campaign in August of 2024, Leslie Sloan being Vision PR, Leslie Sloan being Blake's PR. And she's like, well, she's getting bad press, so people must be obviously going after her because they're being told to go after her, but it was all organic. She contacted this James Fatushka. And she was actually trying to plant stories about Justin Baldoni. She was saying nobody on the cast liked him. Justin Baldoni was not well liked. She said all of this stuff about Justin Baldoni, about why he was, forced to be in the basement at the premiere. But what she didn't say in all of that, while she spoke to James Fatushka, what she didn't say was that Blake had been sexually harassed. So if your client was about to bring forth a sexual harassment suit and you're now alleging a couple of months later that this all happened leading up to the premiere, wouldn't you have told that reporter? Wouldn't you have told James Fatushka, yeah, the reason he's in the basement is because he's a total creep and nobody feels comfortable around him because, she has an open sexual harassment case? That could have been exculpatory evidence for Justin Baldoni. And what I'm hearing, sources are telling me, people that are at the Daily Mail, is that when he went forth to the HR and said, like, hey, I think I want to help out here because I know something, they told him, no, we'll take care of you, don't do that. And then essentially forced him to make a statement which supported Blake Lively's claims that he feels misrepresented what happened. So stay tuned. I think a lot more is going to happen. Maybe this will allow them to refile some of their defamation claims. I don't know, but I wanted to let you know that more is happening there. And it's just the never-ending lawsuit that everybody's getting dragged into. And hopefully I will be there outside of the courtroom dressed with Savannah in all pink, because I am here for this lawsuit. I am here for justice for Baldoni. I'm here for justice for everybody. And we'll keep you guys posted on that. All right, I'm going to get into some of your comments. Oh, look, we have 63,000 live today. That's amazing. Thank you guys so much. If you're enjoying this channel, please subscribe while you're here if you're watching this live on YouTube. First, before I get into your comments and remarks and questions, I'm going to tell you about the Wellness Company, because you and your partner may be struggling to conceive right now. If you took the COVID vaccine, there is definitely cause for concern, and you are not alone. So many people are going through this. There was a recent study, actually, that was done by a Danish researcher, Dr. Vibeke Menick, and it analyzed birth data from women that were aged 18 to 39 over a 2-year period starting in 2021, and the findings suggest that there was a significant decrease in birth rates among vaccinated women, with data indicating a reduction in egg count by nearly 60%. Terrifying. Since 2021, many regions around the world have seen a significant decline in fertility rates, together with an increase in miscarriage rates. The Wellness Company has created a 3-in-1 ultimate spike detox that was crafted with 100% natural ingredients, specifically designed to help your body clear harmful spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support overall health. So do not wait. Experience the only formula that is approved by Dr. McCullough, who's a top freedom-fighting doctor who risked it all. Head to twc.health/Candace. Again, you can head to twc.health/Candace, and don't forget to use code Candace, and you'll get an additional 15% off plus free shipping. Again, you can get that spike detox, and you can detox your body today at twc.health/Candace with code Candace. Reminding you also about American financing, because if you could delay 2 mortgage payments, why wouldn't you? Imagine putting those 2 payments in your pocket, finally getting a little bit of breathing room. It's possible. If you call American Financing today, if you're feeling stretched by everyday expenses, groceries, gas, bills, you're not alone. Most Americans are putting these expenses on their credit cards now. There doesn't seem to be a way out. American Financing can show you how to use your home's equity to pay off that debt. So call American Financing today before you get to a point where you can't make those payments any longer. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are helping homeowners like you restructure their loans, consolidate their debt, all without any upfront fees. And their customers are saving on average $800 a month. So that's like a $10,000 raise annually. It's fast, it's simple, and it could save your budget this summer. So do not wait any longer. Call American Financing today. The number is 800-795-1210. Again, that's 800-795-1210, or visit americanfinancing.net/Owens. That's americanfinancing.net/Owens. Just want to say before I get into your comments, I am not suicidal, okay? I'm not suicidal. I actually love my life. I love my family. I love everything that I do. I love connecting with you guys, and I love standing up to corruption and evil, especially people that would harm children. Sad that we have to say these things, but do not liken the web of things that are happening to people that stand up to the Macrons, the Manchurian candidate Macron. I'm definitely going to get a legal letter for that statement. I could just see it. I might as well just refresh my inbox right now. Oh, look, it's Brigitte. Hello, Candace. Bonjour, Candace. We sue you. We sue you soon. Poof, she punches Emmanuel right when I said that. She just, poof. It's not funny. Domestic violence is not funny. But Brigitte Macron's wig is funny. Okay, let's get into some of your comments. Let's see what you guys are thinking. Got going on. Scrolling down. First up, Jackie Lanzaro writes, Macron and Bibi the Yahoo. If you try to come for Candace, you are coming for us. Better not harm her or her family in any way. We are watching you. She's our little sister, Candace. They not like us. They are not like us. Agreed. They are not like us because they're creeps, freaks, and cowards. That's 3 legal letters I'm going to get, guys. Ariana Moon writes, Emmanuel Macron reminds me of Todd from Wedding Crashers. Oh my gosh. First off, Ariana, you're in my funny bone because that is my favorite comedy of all time. I think I've said that a few times. That is really funny. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I agree. I'm keeping the painting. It was a gift, Todd. It was a gift. Well, will that make you love me? You either get that or you don't. But if you don't get that, you need to watch Wedding Crashers. That's also my Skylar joke too. The lasagna or the meatloaf. The meatloaf, Skylar. And I'm always like, pull up this clip. David Lazaro writes, thank you, Candace, for being an actual journalist. Wow, do you guys know each other? Oh, Lanzaro and Lazaro. Thanks, both of you guys, for your comments and your contributions to the show. Cameron Vaughn writes, I love the fact that you'll mention the Rothschilds, whom I also believe are behind the Epstein list. Can't wait for your interview with Nick tomorrow. Yeah, they're kind of been doing that thing where you can't mention the Rothschilds because, oh, it's anti-Semitic. Why are they calling everything anti-Semitic when people start covering these stories? That's almost like a bigger question that we should be asking ourselves right now. Like, why is it that the pursuit of truth naturally leads you to being smeared as an anti-Semite? That's totally strange. And there are answers to that. And we're kind of getting to that definitively at my book club, which, sorry that we had some issues in the book club on Tuesday. We've resolved those issues since. The next book that we're going to read, you guys, is The Assault on Truth. We sold out of that book, but we have just restocked it. So I'm letting you guys know that we have added 500 more books to the Candace Owens website. If you are jumping in for that, we have just one more meeting with Hollywood Babylon because we learned so much in that book. And yeah, it seems like these people who have an interest in young children maybe also established Hollywood as a fact. Too much, guys. We are learning way too much. But that will be the next book that we read, The Assault on Truth, where we learn about Sigmund Freud and his clan. And yeah, I'll tell you in advance, the book, even though it's written by a Jewish guy who was unbelievably brave to write this book, we're probably going to be called anti-Semitic for learning the information in it. So brace yourselves, fools. Now we have Virgil, who writes, keep up the great work, Candace. Just wanted to point out that most Protestants are not aligned with the evangelical views of Israel and dispensationalism. Protestants and evangelicals are not the same. Well, if you consider Protestantism just to be, it's broken apart many times. There's all these different strands. But I would say that once the Martin Luther stapled those theses, that became the protest Protestant, right? The protest, what you're ultimately protesting is the Catholic Church, right? You could disagree with that. I'm very open to have a theological debate because I'm definitely not a theologian. I'm not my husband, who is much more well-versed in all of that, but that would be my instant response to that. Dave writes, hey, Candace, after your series, I'm convinced my husband, who is super skeptical, and 3 other friends, that the president of France indeed is a married man. Oh, you've convinced them. Yes. Love from MTL. Keep exposing the truth. Yeah, once you watch the series, you're just like, okay, come on. All of my homies are pedos and weird, but I'm not. It's like you watch the first 2 episodes, you're like, what the heck is going on in France? Like, literally, what's been going on in France? And how on earth the journalists keep pretending this is like a conspiracy theory? It's completely absurd. And like I said, Piers Morgan, give me my money. Look at me, Piers. Give me my money. Okay? Psh, psh, psh. That's from Family Guy. For those of you who got the reference, I'm going to go for him big time. I should have had that clip ready to roll. It's hilarious. Anyways, what else do we have? Obviously, we take Fridays off because I like to do that. Got a lot of kids now. It's good to have a full family day. And we will, however, be dropping the Nick Fuentes interview. For those of you who don't know him, basically, 18-year-old kid got banned everywhere. Has kind of been clawing his way back into the media. When I say banned everywhere, I mean Twitter, Instagram. It was unbelievable. And the story behind that is interesting. And yeah, interesting to sit across from someone who says, yes, I identify as a racist and this and that. And I am just interested in having bold conversations and understanding why it is that someone like that would have those ideas or would be banned effectively everywhere at the age of 18 while he was at university. Very interesting story. I'll show you guys this trailer one more time before we go.
Meeting me, what's your impression? Do you think I'm an evil person or?
I don't think you're evil. I think you're asking me.
I became friends with all the Daily Wire people. I said, why does the United States give Israel $3.8 billion per year? You really shouldn't ask that, they would say. The way you're asking it is anti-Semitic. I'm just asking questions.
Did that then make you go, okay, no, actually, I do hate Jews?
Something's up with the Zionists or Israel. It's not Israel, it is the Jews.
You think that your ideas are going to grow with that perspective?
Well, they are.
You kind of lament the fact that you've been canceled. You lament the fact that nobody will have your platform. And in the very same breath, talk about being a hypocrite, you're going after Dave Smith for what? Like, why is she doing Dave Smith? And that's why you suck. You do have ideas that there shouldn't be interracial marriage. I've seen those clips. Can you explain why that is?
My values are not just who I'm in love with and things like that. It's also my heritage, my identity, my race. For a long time, I would say I'm racialist. Now I just say I'm racist.
Are you a Jew hater?
Well,
enjoy, you guys. That will be free if you are already subscribed to CandaceOwens.com, where we are releasing it because he's banned from YouTube. We just don't want to play the YouTube game. And yeah, it's if you are not wanting to sign up, you can watch that pay-per-view. It's only $1.99 behind the paywall. That will be tomorrow at 3:00 p.m. I think we've covered everything today. This has been a fun show. This has been a very fun show. You know, we win some, we lose some, but at the end of the day, we are going to be back on Monday discussing things and uncovering things because it seems at long last there is a little bit of an awakening happening worldwide. I'll see you guys on Monday.